provide you all with an update as it relates to this weekend's officer-involved shooting. And as you know, on October 11th of this year at approximately 12:52 p.m., officers responded to a shooting at 2688 Long Shadow Lane. After arriving on the scene, officers located 31-year-old off-duty officer Terence Olridge. He was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to Regional 1, where he later died from his injuries. The investigation revealed that Officer Olridge was preparing to leave for work when he and his neighbor Lorenzo Clark exchanged words. The encounter was followed by an exchange of gunfire between Officer Olridge and Mr. Clark. Officer Olridge was struck multiple times during this shooting. All evidence has been presented to the Attorney General's office, and at this time, Lorenzo Clark has been charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. This incident would not be classified as a line of duty death due to the fact that Officer Olridge was not on duty at the time, nor was he taking an official police action during this encounter. Officer Olridge began his career with the Memphis Police Department on September the 22nd of 2014. He graduated from the Police Academy on February the 12th, 2015 with the 118th recruit class session. He was assigned to Airway Station Charlie Ship. We ask that the community continue to keep Officer Olridge's family and the department in your prayers. Funeral arrangements are incomplete at this time, and once they have been finalized, my PIOs will get that information out to you. I'll take just a few questions.
Do you know who fired the first shots?
We do not.
Was Lorenzo Clark based on murder charge?
There's still that part of the investigation is still ongoing. There's still a lot of things that we just don't know. It's still unclear to us. We're still working through this. We're still looking for independent witnesses, and we're still communicating with the AG's office. And if something develops or something changes as related to that, we'll make sure that you're aware.
Have you been able to determine who initiated this argument?
We have not.
You know what was the reason, the motive for the argument?
We have not. You have to understand at this point, the only thing that we've been able to get is a one-sided account of the events that led up to this shooting, as well as the events during and after the shooting.
Do you have any witnesses?
Those events have changed. There have been several different events, versions of that. And at this point, the only thing that I can tell you is that there are no charges as it relates to the death of Officer Olridge. However, Mr. Clark has been charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm.
The second officer killed in less than 3 months. I mean, how do you feel?
I don't really know, and I really don't know. I just can't even imagine. I can't even begin to explain to you. My deputy director called me at home Sunday evening, and gave me this information, and he could have said anything else other than that. Certainly, I was hoping that throughout my career, we wouldn't end up back here again. And our department has not thoroughly healed or completely healed from the last time we just went through this in August, and here we are again. So, as you can imagine, it's draining. It's emotionally draining. Our department, we're our family at the end of the day, and as you can imagine, when you lose a family member, it hurts.
So the officer wearing his uniform at the time?
He had not reported for duty at that time and was not in complete uniform.
And was his service weapon, did he use a service weapon in the shootout?
Yes.
We were under the impression in July that all officer-involved shootings were going to go to the TBI. TBI says they haven't gotten this case.
That's not necessarily true. Officers-involved shooting, as it relates to a shooting where an officer is involved and the suspect's life has been taken or a citizen's life has been taken, those cases would be reviewed by the TBI.
Is the murder charge on the table, off the table, something the department is still pursuing?
At this point, the AG's office is still in active investigation, and if something changes as it relates to that, I'll make sure that you get it.
Director, it's just been an incredibly violent weekend in Memphis. I think we've had 7 either murders or death investigations since Saturday. I mean, what can you say to the citizens when, you're mourning someone from your own department and there are, 6 other families out there mourning as well?
If you look at one of the shootings from yesterday, it's actually a double homicide, and that was actually a DV related Homicide, and as you know, homicide is one of those cases. A lot of our crimes we have statistics, we have data that gives us the ability to be proactive. We look at burglaries, we get the opportunity to look at what burglars are occurring, what time they are occurring, and we can be pretty proactive. We can predict when the next burglary will probably happen, and you can do that as it relates to some shootings. Homicide is that one crime that you look at and you really have nothing to give you a precursor as to where the next one will occur. Most of these are emotionally charged. And again, you've heard me say over and over again, we have far too many firearms on our streets.
Last question.
what can we do
Last
to-
question.
Is there a chance this may be self-defense perhaps? And have you all seen this already in this video?
I'm sorry, say that again.
It is possible to be self-defense, and have you all seen this already in this video?
At this point, the only thing that I can tell you at this point is that we do not have enough evidence at this point to substantiate charging Mr. Clark with anything as it relates to this death investigation. It's still an ongoing investigation, and there is a possibility that things might change. But at this point, there will be no charges as it relates to the death of Officer Olridge.
Y'all seen the video from the scene yet?
We have not seen the video.
All right, guys, any other questions? Get them to us in an email, and we'll get changes, okay? All right.